Salvador, President Nayib Bukele is welcoming crypto exchanges and holders with open arms, planning to build a Bitcoin city with 0% capital gains tax, property tax, payroll tax, and municipal tax. Joining us now to discuss further is Edan Iago, lead contributor of Bitcoin-focused DeFi platform SOVRYN. Hello there, Edan. So, when you moved to this Bitcoin city, it's beside a volcano, but, upon hearing of this announcement, what were your thoughts?
Well, I think it's fantastic to see more competition from governments trying to attract people, just generally trying to provide them with better services. And that this is driven by Bitcoin, I think, is a logical conclusion of what we've been seeing with Bitcoin. I think last time I was on the show with you, I said that we should expect to see El Salvador launch Bitcoin bonds. They have been shunned by the global bond market. When Bitcoin became legal tender, the bond price for El Salvador shot up, making bonds much more expensive for them. But by using Bitcoin, they now have access to an entirely different, alternate, permissionless global financial system, and that's Bitcoin. And I think that's the magic of Bitcoin. It provides the same sovereignty to individuals that is now providing to nations. And so nations are trying to attract Bitcoiners by providing them more sovereignty as well.
Who do you think will buy these Bitcoin bonds? And is this a way for them to get around the IMF and El Salvador?
I think it certainly opens up a different route for them, a different form of funding, which they can now access. Bitcoin is a multi-trillion-dollar asset. The crypto space is a multi-trillion-dollar asset class. There's a very significant economy that's being built here, and it is growing remarkably fast, faster than any other part of the economy. So who will be purchasing this? I expect that we'll see a lot of the purchases by people who are interested in supporting the cause of furthering Bitcoin and furthering freedom and sovereignty. And I think that's part of a larger trend that we're seeing in the financial space, and that also Bitcoin has been a major, if not the major player in, which is that people are now realizing that they can vote with their money and that their financial action can change the world.
Mm-hmm. Is there any concern about the volatility that could happen with the crypto markets and building this city and relying on money coming from Bitcoin profits?
So I think it certainly does introduce more volatility, right, to the world when we force countries, right, like El Salvador, to go further out into the risk curve. And indeed, El Salvador have been forced to do this. Their bond prices became more expensive. But in a broader sense, I think this is actually going to dampen volatility significantly. What we're starting to see is Bitcoin emerging into a major asset class, which is being used to finance the exact same things that other major asset classes and other major currencies are used to finance as well. It is truly taking and maturing into its role as a reserve currency. And with that, we're going to start to see the volatility in Bitcoin dampen. That doesn't mean that Bitcoin will stop increasing in value. It's likely to continue to increase in value, but the shocks and the sort of blow off tops will probably be muted.
Do you think Bitcoin will eventually replace the US dollar as a global reserve currency?
I think if the current policy of the United States and the United States Federal Reserve continues, right, which is creating a great deal of uncertainty for the dollar, then the long-term view is that people are going to be looking for a politically neutral and monetarily reliable reserve asset. The fiat system that we currently exist with has existed for a very, very short space of time, 50 years, right? A blink of the eye in historical terms, since 1971 when Nixon removed the gold window for the dollar. And it represents a historical anomaly. It is extremely likely that we will return to a um, reserve base which is not controlled by any given country, and we'll see currencies tied once again to a neutral gold like or commodity like money as the reserve currency. And it's looking more and more certain that that's going to be Bitcoin, because we live in a digital age now, and so Bitcoin as the digital gold is likely to take that role.
Wow. Well, we'll see. It's a huge experiment. Very exciting to see what happens. All right, Idan, thank you for joining us. Appreciate your insights. That was Sovereign contributor Idan Iago.